Experience holiday cheer at Tanger Outlets with savings up to 70% off your favorite brands. From fragrances to accessories and the latest styles, discover the best gifts for everyone on your list. Save big at Nike Factory Store, Michael Kors, Under Armour, Coach, Polo Ralph Lauren, Kate Spade New York, and so many more. Unwrap the best at Tanger Outlets. Hundreds of brands, endless gifting options. Plan your trip at Tanger.com.
Time to lift the lid on some of these scams that are working their way around the Rockford area, and nobody knows more about that than our friend Dennis Horton, who's the director of the Rockford Regional Office of the Better Business Bureau. Dennis, good morning.
Good morning, Riley.
How's everything this morning?
Kind of gray.
Yeah, it is. And, we're afraid that there might be some widespread mildew before 9 o'clock this morning. So keep the Febreze nearby. Keep the Febreze nearby. You should be okay. Hey, it's Scam Central this morning. Let's get rolling on this. Romance scams where everything is fake.
You may recall our international investigator, Steve Baker, did an extensive study on romance scams, and we updated it this past February, right around Valentine's Day. And previously, the romance scams involved an individual working or trying to rip off an individual, promising love and happiness for the rest of their lives.
Sure.
But what we're finding now that it is no longer just a one-on-one effort at romance scams. It is now encompassing fully illegitimate websites that people are going to, and in part it has a lot to do with the pandemic and people again now getting out there. Some folks found themselves somewhat lonely during the height of the pandemic.
Sure.
And scammers realizing that we can fix that and make money on people by launching illegitimate websites. And people are now finding themselves going to these websites, paying the fee, and getting scores of possible suitors, even when they haven't completed their profile, or they get profiles from people who haven't completed theirs. What they are finding is that you pay your money up front, you figure out that this isn't quite right. I am dealing with a fake website, and trying to get the spigot turned off from your credit card is proving to be very difficult. So our warning here is if you are looking for love and you're doing that online or going to a dating website, you need to be able to and start thinking about the red flags that are out there, that you should be doing some research before you sign up to make sure that it is a legitimate website that you are working with.
Well, when you mention that, people are getting all sorts of bites on their profile that they haven't even completed yet, that ought to be a pretty big red flag.
Yeah, I read in Scam Tracker that one person had received not from an incomplete profile more than 200 people of interest. And those people also don't exist. So there is a battery of individuals who are faking these profiles and contacting people.
Wow. And then the next thing you know is, hey, I'd love for us to be together, but I got a couple of debts I got to cover. I got to do this. I got to do that. Can you send me some money?
You nailed it. That's exactly how it works. I'd love to come and see you, but unfortunately, I'm tapped out right now. But could you send me the money for the plane ticket, and I'll be there post-haste. And your money's gone, and so are they.
Yep. Or something came up. I needed that money for a quick car repair, but this time I'm serious. Send me because it's a whole series of stringing people along too, isn't it?
It is. It's again. If it sounds too good to be true, don't believe it. When when the idea is that I'll keep them on the hook for as long as I can, extracting more money and more interest, and when they find themselves in so deep, either they're embarrassed and they feel foolish, but they've lost their money, and in some cases, they may be emotionally scarred by the whole experience.
And not want to tell anybody, which is, kind of runs cover for the bad guys that are doing this.
That absolutely. And if you are going to look for a dating site and you're going to be paying, make sure that you're doing that with your credit card because you then have some recourse, hopefully, that will help you get your money back when you find out that you've been scammed.
So, yeah, be very careful, steered to our website. But, as you mentioned, that's kind of a giant leap forward from the one-on-one email or the one-on-one text where we get something rolling.
It's amazing as we talk. It's always amazing that how a scam starts and it just builds, and that small snowball becomes a snowman before you know it.
Yep, and all of your money winds up going to somebody you'll never encounter ever, and if you do, it'll be because they passed you on the street and you didn't know it. So, yeah, avoid those things, and, if it, I think you put it best. If all of this seems like, wow, this is a dream come true, this is so good, it's probably not.
That's right. Don't believe it.
From there, from romance scams where everything is fake, we move on to online marketplace sales and overpayment schemes. I'm interested in this.
Well, I was looking at the things that we were talking about this morning, and it keeps coming to mind that all things old are new again.
Right.
And that's what we have here. A lot of people are trying to sell things online, like Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist. Well, today, the same thing that happens with overpayment schemes. So I read a report of an individual who was trying to sell a sofa. And the person contacted her and said, I'd like to buy your sofa. We are in the middle of getting ready for my daughter's wedding. I'm really busy right now. Let me send you the money if you could hold it for us for a while, and then we will have it picked up. They sent a check, a cashier's check, for way more than the cost of the sofa, asking the individual, the seller, to cash the check and send the money, the overage, back so that they could pay the movers. That's the same way that all overpayment schemes work. They send you a check for too much money and then ask you to cash that check, which, by the way, is no good. You send the money back to them. They've made their money because what you have essentially done is given them your money.
Right.
And the check bounces. You have to pay for the check that's bounced, and you are out the money. The bank isn't going to say, it's too bad, you were scammed. If you don't have that money in your account, you're going to have to come up with it because you've given away the bank's money.
Wow, what a horrible little scam that is, too, because it doesn't trip any of the usual red flags. I mean, you get a check ahead of time, hold on to the merchandise. Oops, I sent you too much. I mean, what could be wrong here? Until you figure out the back end that you just explained.
Right, and the overpayment schemes work exactly the same way. The difference now that the vehicle they're using are the Craigslist and the marketplaces, rather than sending you the winnings from a lottery. Oops, that check is too big. Send the overage back to us. Instead of it being a lottery, it is now selling online products.
Wow. So I've got a $500 couch I'm offering up. Somebody, I accidentally sent you a check for $850. Well, just cash that out. Send me back the $350, and we're good. So $350 comes out of your account. They're gone with the wind, and you need to cover all of that.
Exactly. And keep in mind that you are responsible, regardless of how it got there. You are responsible for all the instruments that you deposit, regardless of where they came from. It is your responsibility.
Okay, so another, you just want to sell a couch, and the next thing you know, you're caught up in this web.
Right, and losing money.
And losing money. And, and your bank is potentially peeved at you over the whole deal to begin with.
Right. I recall a while ago, a young Rock Valley College student came into the office who had gotten involved in an overpayment scheme. Her bank took pity on her and offered her a loan to pay it back gradually, but she owed them $2,000.
Oh, man. Yeah. So once again, something else. There's a minefield out there, especially when you're engaging in e-commerce of some sort. Be careful of that one. And finally on our list, Apple iTunes 866-712-7753 scam.
Goes back to 2014 when it all began. So again, all things old and new again. What we are finding in Scam Tracker is that people are seeing a strange charge from iTunes on their credit card bill. They start at a very small amount to generally test the card, like at 99 cents, and then those amounts increase. The problem is that these charges are not from Apple or about your actual iTunes account, and because many people. I have a music streaming service that I pay for. It has caused me to take a very close look at it because it's a nominal charge, and if it's a nominal charge, $2.99 a month, you normally aren't going to be paying lots of attention to it. Unfortunately, we should be paying lots of attention because when you're dealing with this scam in particular, it starts with a very small amount of money, and then it can build to where people have lost thousands of dollars and had their credit cards maxed out by the individuals who are perpetrating this scam. I've been hunting for to see if there is a lead as to who is actually doing the scam. We know it's not a legitimate. Apple is aware of it. They have posted on their website that there is a scam, but I don't know who it is that's doing it.
Yeah, I was going to say, so somebody at some point has gotten a hold of your card number and is using it in this manner to make it look like all of this is going through a normal transaction that you would already be undertaking with Apple.
Yes, and it could be from one of the many hacks that have happened. We still don't know what the Experian hack and all of the information that is out there. We still don't know exactly how it's being used and who it is who's using it. And it could end up being that the Apple iTunes scam could be a part of that. We simply really don't know.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you, my next question was going to be, how is it that someone got a hold of that credit card number, and I had forgotten all about the depth of that Experian hack?
Right. And there are other hacks that have taken place, and we know that they've occurred. We know what we've had to do to try to protect our accounts, but in some cases, people are unaware that they were even hacked. So that information is still out there, and unless you've taken steps to change the account or close the account or what have you, or at least have an alert put on your account, you don't know that you are being victimized yet again.
So your best bet then is to make sure, go over whatever your payment mechanism is for your Apple, or it could be your Spotify, or it could be anything else that you have a recurring charge on, and look for abnormalities.
Exactly. And in fact, we all should be taking a closer look at all of our recurring charges to make sure that there hasn't been some major increases in what you're paying, or there may be incremental increases in what you are paying, and you are unaware of it because they're small, but, a dime adds up sooner or later.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, we've heard about the scams where guys were trying to take a half cent out of everything that went through electronically. Well, you do that for a long enough time and enough money goes down that pike, that half cent begins to add up after a while.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay. Be on the lookout for that one. First thing you want to do, check those recurring charges and make sure that those all seeming, it should be a flat rate. You should look at it every month and go, okay, this is what it is. And that's what I'm supposed to pay. When you see, well, wait a minute, it's normally $10 a month. Why is this $53?
Yes. And make sure that you look closely at the verbiage for that charge to make sure that it is one that you opened. It could say Apple iTunes, or it could just say iTunes, and you're not quite sure if it is in fact your real iTunes charge. So if you are concerned, contact iTunes customer service personally.
Yeah,
and talk with someone.
And don't wait around, because, like you mentioned, that can really pile up if you don't get right on that.
That's true. And, the scammers are out there, and when they realize that the consumers or their victims are onto them to some degree, they work faster and harder. So they may get to you before you get to them.
All right.
Stop them.
See, once again, aren't you glad you tuned in this morning? This is valuable information. This happens every time Dennis joins us. So we've got romance scams where everything is fake. Watch out for the online marketplace sales, and especially those overpayment schemes that he talked about. And check those recurring charges so you don't get a nasty surprise. Dennis, if anybody's had a personal experience with one of these, they want to share, they want to ask questions and all that, how do they make contact with you?
Please give us a call at 815-963-2222.
Yeah,
Happy to talk with you.
Yeah, Rockford Better Business Bureau working hard for you every single day. Dennis, we appreciate the time and the expertise, and we'll look forward to talking again in a couple of weeks.
Riley, thank you, and you have a great rest of the week.
You too. There's Dennis Horton. He's director of the Rockford Regional Office of the Better Business Bureau.